Hi, I'm Daniela Bertino from The Placemakers. The Placemakers is the world's largest street furniture manufacturing group, and of Metalco. Metalco is the leading brand of The Placemakers. Well, we know urban furniture, and we are promoter of a new vision of street furniture. Street furniture for us becomes social design for real life. So becomes a tool to respond to real needs in terms of architecture and cultural needs all around the world. We want to inspire urban furniture projects that become valuable for the communities. Why do we do so? We do so because there's a matter of fact, there's a recognition of the actual situation. Today, over 50% of the world's population is urbanized for the first time in history. This means that we are entering a new era, the age of the Homo urbanus. It's a global change happening. So what happens then? It happens that we need to create space for the Homo urbanus. So we're witnessing a fast and rapid evolution of urban zones. In this time of great changes, we see the rising of a movement of which we are happily part, which is committed to create a sustainable urbanization to avoid the risks that growing urbanized spaces are creating, and to amplify the benefits and the opportunities. So we think it's time to create space for the Homo urbanus, but doing it in the right way. To do it in the right way, we need to understand, to be well aware of what are the risks. Well, the risk basically is to respond to an immediate interest while sacrificing a long-term view. And this can affect people, nature, and environment. Namely, this can bring to lowering the living conditions of the citizens, to increase social differences, to feed crime, causing unemployment and exploitation, wasting valuable resources, so leading to inefficiency, increasing pollution, destroying natural habitats of flora and fauna. What happens? With this happens that in the citizens, in the community, actually the community doesn't develop. In the citizens, there's a widespread of sense of frustration which affects the quality of life. And this creates a negative feeling in people that will start behaving as individual rather than as community. And this will increase poverty and social inequality, creating a vicious circle. But there's a happy side of growing urbanization, and the happy side is the opportunity of plan the growth sustainably, pursuing positive goals, valorizing what we have, what exists, and creating new places that are able to respond to an evolving need of the citizens. Because history is going on, things are moving, things are changing, and urban spaces won't be the same today and tomorrow. We just need to plan the place in order to be changeable with the needs in time. So the opportunities are exactly the opposite as the risks. There's the opportunity to better living conditions of the citizens, to promote social integration, to feed education, to create employment and opportunities and fighting exploitation, to valorize important resources rather than wasting them, and to create efficiency, to control pollution and protect natural habitats. All this brings to a virtuous circle. So reasoning with a long-term perspective, despite an immediate need, allows to generate a sense of satisfaction, and a satisfaction that lasts in time. And this can positively influence the behavior of the single citizens that will start to think as part of a community, respecting the others. And the community together will grow and start a virtuous circle. So we are producers of street furniture, so we asked ourselves, how can street furniture play a fundamental role in this virtuous circle of creating the right space for the Homo urbanus? Well, the answer for us is to conceive street furniture as social design. And what does this mean? What is social design, and when does street furniture become social design? Well, it's simple. You need to follow 5 rules. Well, first of all, you need to conceive the products of street furniture with a citizen-first mentality. Then using it to create a sense of community. And Street furniture then has to be created and used respecting the feeling of the place. Then it has to help urbanization reconnect with nature. So it has to bring back nature into urbanized environment. And it has to be environmentally sustainable. So designing with citizen first mentality is the starting point. And this means that street furniture needs to put people, well, in this case, the citizens, at the center of the creative process. It means that each time we design street furniture, we have to consider what are the actual needs in urban life. And then we need to consider how we can blur the line between public and private spaces to create comfortable public places for each one to enjoy. And then we have to consider that street furniture has to contribute to create well-being and promoting sociality. Well, satisfying the needs, street furniture, designing with citizen first mentality means that street furniture has to respond to actual needs of the citizens. Citizens every day have to go out from home, move to work, maybe using bicycle or cars or walking to work or using a bus. So street furniture has to offer tools able to ease and facilitate all these operations. For example, comfortable shelters that will protect people from the sun, or info points where people can find the right route to reach the place they need to route, or to check the timetables, or easy parking for their bikes. It's all about creating the right conditions for people to work, to learn, to simply live within a particular space without having too much trouble facing their daily routine. And then designing with citizen first mentality means blurring the line between public and private spaces. Growing urbanization means that we need more space for human beings. And space is anyway limited. And this means that the private space of each individual is becoming now narrower and narrower. And we need to regain some space in a public dimension. And when I talk about public dimension, I don't talk about just outdoor spaces, but also of indoor spaces, but used for the public, dedicated for a community to live and to enjoy. And so we need to consider that people, when they go out of their homes, of their protected environments, they need to feel at ease exactly as they were feeling at ease in their private homes. Okay, so we have to conceive the spaces as a place for intimate connection between citizens, offering just the right layout of an area, of a park, for example, for people to meet or to eat or to feel free to express themselves. Designing with citizen first mentality means also having in mind the goal of creating well-being. Because to create satisfaction, we need to heighten the quality of life, of people. So we are social animals. All human beings need interaction to be satisfied, healthier, and happier. So well-being passes necessarily through having spaces where people are able to reconnect with each other. And street furniture can be a means to promote socialization, fun, interaction, by creating, by giving the right tool to create a space adapted to each one to live and to connect. Because promoting sociality in the end defeats individualism and indifference. So we defeat one of the biggest risks of an uncontrolled and unorganized urbanization. Well, the second rule for making street furniture social design is creating the sense of community. It's a matter of fact, town and city planners right now are increasingly understanding that public spaces are becoming more prosperous and valuable when they take care of the community, of their initiatives. So respecting the spirit of a community and actually empowering it develops culture. And when we have a community, we have sociality, we have culture, we have economy, we have economic value. So To create the sense of a community, we have to understand each of the individuals that live in the community and not forget any of them. So it means inclusivity. Community is a connection of individuals, and each of them has to be taken into consideration. And there's a vulnerable part of the community that needs to be protected and respected. So street furniture needs to offer the right design, not only for the needs of the majority, but also for the needs, for example, of children, elderly people, or other people that might need our help to live their lives easier. And then creating the sense of community is important because it leads to respect. Well-furnished, functional, and looked after public spaces at the service of the whole community will lead to a much more respect and attention by the user. This means that if I requalify a place, maybe a place which is a little bit decaying, and I, instead of choosing the cheapest and the easiest stuff, I plan the place with attention, full of details, full of quality products and of quality goals for the place. People will appreciate that, will take care of that. And there are plenty, it's not just an idea, there are plenty of examples of cities that have done that in the world. Big cities, small cities. I always like to recall an example I saw in Medellin, in Colombia, where the downtown was the main life of the city. When they started to create nice squares with amazing street furniture at the top of the hills, they were able, instead of just bringing people down to the place, to bring people up to the hills, and the hills that were decayed, they started to be requalified and reused by people and respected by people. So it's very important for urban planners. They have this responsibility to choose just the right projects in order to allow people to respect the place. It's not a waste. Creating a sense of community means also supporting social languages. So a community is a larger ecosystem, is made of people that sometimes share values and share behaviors, but sometimes also have differences. Individuals do have difference between one and the other, and also different lifestyles. And a community needs to give, to be taken care of the common points between individuals, but we also need to let the individual express their uniquenesses. So by allowing street furniture to provide, expression to people, we respect the differences and we avoid the sense of frustration that is so negative and so damaging for an urbanized environment. Respecting the feeling of the place is the third important rule to make street furniture become social design. So the right furniture will allow to create, just like it happens, in a house, will allow to create a sense of purpose, respecting the character of the place. And it's well known that human beings are attracted to harmony. They like harmony and they feel at ease in harmony. And we have a way to choose and to use street furniture to create this harmony, to create the right feeling of the place. What's the result? The result is that street furniture won't overwhelm the space and will make it though unique and recognizable, because each citizen will feel at home and have positive feeling for the place they can call home, and each visitor will feel welcome and they will like to come back and they will remember the place. So the place in their memory, we always say that a space becomes a place when you attach some feelings, some emotions, and some memories to it. That's exactly the way you have to do it. By creating the right feeling, a space becomes a place and a visitor will feel welcome. A citizen will feel at home. How can we do that by using street furniture? Well, street furniture has color. So we can play with the colors by making them become the language that silently speaks. The image we see right now in the screen is a project realized in Romania, where the city has divided the town areas into by differentiating them through colors. they have decided to put street furniture in the colors of the areas. So people are immediately, recognizing the place and feeling, in the right spot at the right moment. And then aesthetical harmony can be reached also through contrast, a sweet contrast. And this can be nonsense, but it's not. A sweet contrast can highlight the evolving character of a place. We don't have to think that growing urbanization means creating new spaces. Sometimes it means, enlarging something that already exists. And to enlarge something that already exists in the right way, we need to respect the history of the place to avoid for the community to lose their identity. So, for example, like in the project you see here, you have an ancient building of Roman times approaching a much more modern structure, which is not in conflict, with the surrounding. This highlights modernity and development, respecting the character of the place. And then aesthetical harmony, on the other hand, can be continuity of style. If we want to reinforce incredibly a strong identity of the place, we can use street furniture matching to the design and to the style of the context. Sometimes it's good to play with a contrast. Sometimes if we want to keep a strong identity, we just continue with the same style. Or there's another way in which street furniture can be used by choosing materials or shapes that will somehow integrate with the environment, materials that will recall what surrounds the street furniture. In this project you see here, there's a great example of a very emerging nature in a tropical climate with street furniture elements in wood and little steel in order not to affect too much the green impact of the area. There is a fourth rule of social design, and the fourth rule of social design is reconnecting urbanization and nature. This is absolutely very important because the biggest mistake that we can create is to forget about nature. As we said, the immediate needs of an urbanization may bring to cementification, may bring to kill nature in favor of human activities. But it's not necessarily like that. We can use street furniture, for example, to bring back nature in our cities, having green lungs for citizens to enjoy. So, for example, street furniture can bring back nature into outdoor spaces. Let's think of benches that will become flower planters, that will become, contentment for trees, and will bring into, an area typically architectural and driven to man activities and to human activities into spaces where anyway we can relax and reconnect with nature. Or we can bring back nature into indoor spaces, because we don't have to make the mistake, of thinking that street furniture is only meant for outdoor spaces. Street furniture can fit also indoor spaces. For example, we can think of a mall, we can think of a shopping center, we can think of an airport. If we manage to reintegrate nature into these spaces, we are able to bring an outdoor feeling inside and leave people more relaxed. There are studies that are demonstrating that a green environment helps people concentrate and be relaxed and feel at ease. Street furniture and nature can also join together to become urban design. So like in this project you see here, nature becomes a part of the street furniture. Let's think, for example, like in this case, of a wonderful shadower, okay, where we can put a net and we can grow a luxurious vegetation, grow to protect and to shadow people. This is a perfect marriage between a human activity, a human product, and a natural product. And street furniture can be used to highlight and protect existing nature. Because we don't have to forget that expansion of human spaces sometimes means diminishing, sometimes often means diminishing natural space. And nature sometimes is there. And there is a way to integrate our urban spaces to what already exists by protecting it. Street furniture can become a barrier, can become a means to enjoy nature while protecting it, while defending it from our activities. Like in the case of this bench that can protect a tree, from passers-by. And then street furniture can be the tool into nature for us to enjoy. Let's think, of a park and of the feeling that you have after maybe 8 hours closed in an office or in an indoor environment, and we want to enjoy, and we walk to a wonderful and luxurious park to be in the middle of the nature in our urban spaces. Well, if I find there just the right, bench, just the right sun lounger, just the right seating for relaxing and spending my time in nature, well, I'm happy, I'm satisfied. My urban space is giving me exactly what I need to regain. When we said before, blurring the line between private and public, this situation like this, using street furniture like this, just allows people to feel at ease in nature, regaining, their contact with it. And then there's the fifth super important rule of social design, which is engaging to environment. Well, we all know that there is a big fact today. Global warming. It is not a risk. It is something that's right now happening. And the consequences right now are visible, but they will be more visible in the future. And it's not too late, though. We can still take action, and we must take action. And the small details counts. The small details matters to make a big change. So street furniture can be part of it. Can be part of it by being eco-sustainable. So for the urban projects to develop, it's good to take in mind to choose urban furniture which has been sustainably conceived. And we, as the placemakers, we firmly believe in the importance of a sustainable growth. That's why we have asked ourselves, how can we have an approach, eco-sustainable approach to street furniture? Well, we think that we have to totally reconceive design, materials, production processes. So every day we engage on this. We engage on a design that will lead to efficiency, avoiding energy or material waste, limiting the number of operations to make a product, because efficiency is always a way to avoid waste. Or thinking of multi-purpose products. Multi-purpose approach means, for example, modularity, products that can be combined together and have one life and one scope today. That maybe tomorrow I can use the same modules of a composition to remove it and recreate an area following the new scope. In this way, like in the bench, you see in the image at the right top, okay, you can rework a composition of products to give a new sense, a new purpose to it. And then recyclability. Conceiving correctly a product allows for professional recycling at the end of the product's life. So it's not just a matter of choosing the right materials, it's also a matter of how marrying the right materials together, allowing for them to be unassembled at the end of the life cycle in order to be able to separate and recycle separately. And then sustainable materials, choosing materials that can be recycled or recycled already, or materials that are traceable, sustainable, that comes from sources that we can find, we can trace, and we know that they are respectable and durable and sustainable materials for a long lifetime. Because the number one rule for a product to be sustainable is that you don't need to change it and to create a new product in a short time. And then like this, already we've done a lot, but we have to implement a virtuous process to produce. So choosing renewable energy from renewable sources, paying attention to the treatments. There are treatments that can make a product look nicer or maybe have less maintenance, but they're not sustainable. And if they're not sustainable, it means that they use chemicals or procedures that will affect the environment. So their sustainability in a long term is not working. And respecting and valorizing human resources is another big part of the virtuous process, because to allow people to be engaged in respecting the environment, we have to respect them first, feel them, make them feel part of the circle. So I'm nearly at the end, and I want just to terminate this intervention by recalling a little bit the topics we have discussed. So our goal is to reach a sustainable urbanization using street furniture as a valuable tool at the service of this process. And we believe that street furniture, to do so, it has to be conceived following a social design attitude, respecting citizen first mentality, sense of community, the feeling of the place, reconnecting humans with nature, and respecting the environment. So I can only terminate by inviting everybody. Everybody can join us in the mission of making spaces living places, so transform space into places of life through social design for real life. So applying social design to sustainable urbanization will turn urban spaces into livable places, bringing benefits to communities, to each citizen, respecting nature and environment while creating just the right feeling for the right place. So let's make this virtual circle begin. Thank you.